Tonight, with just 4 sleeps until Spencer Golf locals head to the polls, the candidates for Grey talk transport and infrastructure. And freshly welcoming traffic, an obstruction along Port Augusta's new bridge causes chaos for early morning commuters.
From our 7 Spencer Golf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. As the federal election inches closer, the candidates for Grey have been announcing their plans for transport infrastructure in the Spencer Gulf. With locals often forced to travel long distances, each party is pledging to keep the electorate of Grey moving forward. Here's Edward McCarroll with the details.
Whether by car, bus or train, each candidate vying for the seat of Grey is outlining ways to keep wheels turning. Rowan Ramsey has continued to double down on improving regional roads for motorists in the lead up to this election.
Right around Grey, over $1 billion going into roads and bridges and the road shouldering and just a complete upgrade of the whole freight network. It's a wonderful thing.
Independent candidate Liz Haberman is not convinced, saying the current member for Grey has not done enough to improve roads, adding that they are not equipped to support the volume of cars and the weight of freight that are travelling along them.
Our roads just can't handle the traffic that's on them at the moment, especially the massive trucks that we seem to be stuck behind.
The Independent also says she's invested in the region's ability to transport people and cargo by train.
We've lost our rail network throughout the majority of regional SA.
Haberman says if elected, she will work to revitalise the rail network to its former glory. Meanwhile, the Greens say that they are not looking to the past but to a future of lower emissions transportation.
I can't really talk about what spending we would allocate to roads and rail, but certainly our emphasis is to support public transport system in Grey.
Greens candidate Tim White says compared to metro locations, Grey does not offer enough transport options for people who don't drive, while also saying it's hard for motorists to switch to cleaner alternatives as there are not enough electric vehicle charging stations.
That would be a priority to ensure that those people that purchased electric vehicles were able to source recharging stations across the whole of Grey electorate.
With less than 5 days to go, we will soon see whose ideas get the green light and whose are kicked to the curb.
Edward McCarroll reporting there from Port Augusta. It's a time for all drivers to reflect, today marking day 2 of National Road Safety Week. Here in the Spencer Gulf, locals are being reminded how to play their part in protecting and saving lives on our roads.
National Road Safety Week is campaigning to save lives. It aims to protect vulnerable road users and raise awareness around road trauma.
An incredibly important week, Road Safety Week, because it's a reminder that all of us are accountable for our decisions, and every decision that we make on the roads is a decision that can change a life. It can save a life and it can help someone else get home safely.
Road trauma affecting thousands of Australians. Over the past 5 years, 486 lives were lost on SA roads. Sadly, young people are at the forefront, with those aged between 16 to 24 making up for 21% of lives lost on roads.
The trauma of road safety, particularly with young people, people under 24 years of age are still overrepresented in the road toll by 200%. That's a terrible blight on our society.
Regional road safety also a concern, with 56% of lives lost occurring on country roads. But the Minister says it isn't necessarily the visitors passing through.
An overrepresentation of people from the regions that are dying on our roads, and there's often been this misconception that people are travelling through areas they're not familiar with, or it could be that there are city people driving through regional or rural areas. In fact, it's the opposite.
Last year's SAPOL statistics recorded 99 deaths on our roads. This year's fatality total already up to 30, 4 of those deaths occurring within the Eyre and Western local service area.
It's a national effort. It's an effort in every regional town. It's an effort in every city centre. Road death and road trauma affects everybody.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta commuters were stuck in traffic this morning as cars were brought to a temporary standstill on the new Joy Beluch Bridge. A car crashed on the adjacent Flinders Terrace around 8:45 this morning, preventing cars turning into the CBD. The roadblock causing the cars who wanted to turn to back up along the bridge. While police and MFS were called to the scene, thankfully there were no reports of injuries. And with many of the cars affected by the crash being commuters on their way to work, hopefully no one's boss gave them a hard time for running late. Still to come tonight, how much money's going where? We break down the Coalition's plan to end mobile phone black spots in the Spencer Gulf. And we take a look at the regional airport with a fresh runway and aerodrome. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf News this Tuesday night. Residents in the Eyre Peninsula and far north will soon have better connectivity with 4 new mobile towers to be constructed. Grey MP Rowan Ramsey travelling to the towns where the new towers will be built to throw his support behind the projects.
Rowan Ramsey has welcomed funding from the Coalition Government's Regional Connectivity Program. The federal member for Grey says the money will be used to build 4 mobile towers to service residents in the Eyre Peninsula and far north. The additional towers are set to reduce mobile black spots.
We all run farming businesses here, and the lack of mobile service has been a real problem to a lot of the local farmers. So it's really very important.
Telstra Macro mobile towers will be built at regional locations like Peakner, Sejuna South, Gum Creek and at a Warilla Hills site, which is also extending the coverage along the Eyre Highway. Mr Ramsey saying it's incredibly important that these areas have better access to reception for safety reasons.
Finally, after a lot of lobbying, have been told that we'll get a mobile phone tower here to service the Peakner Valley. It's been a long time coming.
It's a reasonably expensive tower here, so these standalone macro towers are up in that $700,000, $800,000, $1 million, depending on backhaul electricity.
These developments, along with a major upgrade to an existing tower, make up the second round of the Regional Connectivity Program, which Mr Ramsey says is continuing to make a real difference for those living and working in the regions.
It's a way to support small communities like ours and this freight and tourist route that we've got going through our town now.
We get getting there and filling in the gaps across Australia, and I'm really thankful that we've got that support from the federal government because it's something that we've never had from a Labor government.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Tibooburra Aerodrome has received a $720,000 facelift from the New South Wales State Government. The upgrade is to support rural and remote communities and services in the far west.
It's one of the state's most remote airstrips. The New South Wales Government has invested the money to make sure that the community has the appropriate facilities for emergency services. The runway, taxiway and apron areas were given a fresh bitumen seal with new aggregate lay and new line markings.
What it does, it opens up the interior. Connectivity is so important, transport is so important, communication is so important.
The works will make sure the Royal Flying Doctor Service, Police and Rural Fire Service and the Flying Padre can service the community by accessing the modernised airstrip. The upgrades will also help support the economy in the outback. Nicer airports meaning more visitors.
Tourism plays a huge part in the interior of regional New South Wales, so to upgrade this runway in this regard provides a multitude of opportunities.
The Minister believes a big change is on the way for the bush.
This is a game changer when it comes to transport for rural and remote communities. It keeps communities connected and it keeps them safe.
The benefits of the upgrade significantly helps the quality of service that the RFDS can deliver to the community. As accidents in rural and remote areas can happen at any time, the response times need to be quick.
This airstrip upgrade provides us with better night and day access, which is safer for the community and safer for our aircraft and crews.
For Leroy Henderson, hearing about the upgrades was great news. He was flown out when an accident caused the loss of his arm.
For me, the RFDS were one of the most important things in my life. I guess without them, I wouldn't be here.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Copper Coast Council is preparing for the inaugural Flame Festival. Kicking off next Friday and running for a week, the event is a celebration of the region's best food, light, art, music and entertainment. There's no shortage of things to do, with the full program available to have a look at online. One of the highlights will be the Wallaroo Silo Light Show, which will see art projected onto the structure. Stay with us after the break. The regional school celebrating Ida Hobbit Day, raising awareness of LGBT rights violations, and a fun and free family event on the way for Whyalla. I'll tell you where and when in a few minutes. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. Broken Hill City Council flew the pride flag at the Town Hall facade on Main Street today in celebration of Ida Hobbit Day. The day aims to raise awareness for LGBTQIA+ rights violations and fight for safe and culturally appropriate care. Here's Joshua Mercer.
This Tuesday, May 17th, is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Intersex Discrimination and Transphobia. Ida Hobbit for short. It's a day to celebrate the LGBTQIA+ people, not only here in Broken Hill, but across the globe. Abby Kelly is one of the co-founders of Prideful Broken Hill. The inclusive group uses social media to connect locals who identify as part of the LGBTQIA+ community by spearheading community initiatives like the Rainbow Shoelace Project. Prideful provides colourful beads at locations across Broken Hill, encouraging the community and its allies to deck their shoelaces with rainbow beads as a sign of support. To align with Ida Hobbit Day, Abby and her co-founder reached out to council to see if they would fly the pride flag for today at the Town Hall facade. They have also asked if the flag could be flown in the lead up to September's Broken Hill Festival, a 3-day event celebrating the theatrical anniversary of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Abby, who was last year's New South Wales Volunteer of the Year recipient, is thrilled that it wasn't just Town Hall flying the rainbow flag today. Woolyarma High School also getting into the spirit of Ida Hobbit Day by flying the flag. If you'd like to support Abby and her co-founder, you can follow them on social media at Prideful Broken Hill. You can also pick up rainbow shoelace beads at any community notice board around town. For more information on how you can support the community, you can visit the LGBTQIA+ health website.
Joshua Mercer reporting there. A free party in the park will be held at Whyalla tomorrow to celebrate National Families Week. Starting at 2 p.m. at Norton Park on McRitchie Crescent, the event will have fun for the whole family. The day's activities include family photos, games, crafts and a free sausage sizzle. The community is encouraged to bring a chair or a blanket and stay for an outdoor movie at 6 p.m. Students at John Perry Secondary School have been given the unique opportunity to have their artwork put on display outside and at night. The budding photographers followed prompts to snap the perfect pic before having it projected for all to see.
The Port Pirie Regional Council has invested in a permanent projection infrastructure at City Park. Residents will be able to watch different images play on loop throughout the year.
The City Park projector is a brand new attraction for Port Pirie. It screens every single night from once it gets dark to about 10:30 at night.
In celebration of SA Youth Week, students from John Perry Secondary were asked, "Where's your Wonderland?" A prompt that asked students to capture who they really are by turning a camera on your everyday life.
This youth show touches on a Where's Your Wonderland, branches of inspiration from a show at the Art Gallery in Port Pirie.
All the images have the same style and effect, being black and white, and the areas of importance are highlighted.
And some of the students chose, being with their friends, being in certain spaces in the community.
Council is working on further community incorporated events with the projector and appreciates the public's input.
If it's too cold one night, come out the next night, bring a blanket. Sit in the lovely lawn area in front of City Park.
The City Park projector and future events are promoted through the Council's website. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Soccer season in Port Lincoln. We recap some of the weekend's most exciting games And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. The Port Lincoln Soccer Association is off to a kicking start. The weekend saw round 2 of the competition with some competitive matches being played. Our reporter Henry Millick brings you all the action.
It was a cracking weekend of soccer here in Port Lincoln, seeing 5 grades take to the pitch. Kicking things off in the under-9s, Seacoal Masters took on the Lincoln Knights, but it was the Knights who got the win, defeating Masters 2-1. In the under-16s, we had the Knights defeat Seacoal Masters 8-4. It was a tight game between the Raiders and South Coast, with the Raiders edging out a 1-goal victory. In the Senior A's competition, Lincoln Knights got the better of Seacoal Masters, defeating them 8-2. In the other match, South Coast got on the board by defeating the Raiders 3-1. The president of the association is happy with the start of the season.
Really good positive start. Big day on Mother's Day, the first game of the year. And then again yesterday, another really good day with good participation numbers across all 5 age groups.
The junior talent of the league going strongly, with some players playing at a state level. The association will compete in Jeps Cross early next month to face off against other teams from across the region.
Port Lincoln Soccer Association, well, we're going to have 4 teams go over and represent the association on the June long weekend. That's an under-12, under-13 and under-15 boys teams and an under-16 girls team.
Some of the junior players are currently playing for Adelaide-based teams, but they've been given exemptions to represent the PL Association. The future of Port Lincoln soccer looking promising.
So that's obviously, I guess, an indication of the standard that we have here. But across the board, we'd like to think that our standard for all junior players is developing nicely.
We'll be back next week to bring you all of the soccer action here in Port Lincoln, along with the rest of the region's sport.
And if you or your sporting club would like to be featured in our news, send us a message on our Facebook page. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, mainly fine conditions across the board today.
Thanks, Maddie, and good evening to you and our viewers. You aren't wrong, it was cloudy across most centres today. I'll also have a sneak peek at the weekend forecast for you, but firstly, let's take a closer look at today's conditions. From 3 p.m, Whyalla reached 18 degrees. Our friends in Adelaide had a shower or 2 and reached 17. Cooper Pedy was sunny and 22. Looking further out across the region now, Port Augusta was partly cloudy and 20. Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Woodner were all 19. Kadina and Cleve were both 18. Clare reached 16 degrees and over the border, Broken Hill was 17 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud over southern South Australia behind a cold front is generating a few isolated showers. Cloud in the far northwest near a trough is not bringing rain. Skies are clearer elsewhere under high pressure. A marine wind warning remains current for South Australia also. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas around a metre, and south to southwesterly swell 1 to 3 metres. As mentioned earlier, those mainly fine conditions continue. Port Lincoln to reach a top of 19 degrees. Cleve, a max of 18, and Woodner will be partly cloudy and 20 degrees. While 18, Port Augusta to reach 20, and Kadina is set to have a possible shower and a max of 19 degrees. Port Pirie to reach 19, also possible shower for Clare, 16, and over the border in Broken Hill, it will be partly cloudy and also 16 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, partly cloudy again on Thursday, except for in Cooper Pedy, where possible showers are forecast, a max of 17 there. Temperatures to be in the high teens across other centres, but just a max of 14 degrees in Broken Hill. Very similar conditions forecast for Friday, but not a drop of rain in sight, a max of 20 for Port Augusta, Woodner and Port Pirie, 18 for Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Adelaide, and 14 again in Broken Hill. And As promised, a look at the forecast for the beginning of the weekend now. The cloud will be clearing up on election day with sunny conditions for Cooper Pedy and Port Augusta on Saturday. Partly cloudy elsewhere, 22 in Port Pirie, 18 for Broken Hill and Port Lincoln, while it will reach 19 degrees. So it looks like perfect conditions for a democracy sausage, Maddie. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. See you soon with an update. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.